Hi, welcome to Book Chat with Kate and Teresa. I'm Kate.
And I'm Teresa.
And today we have a special guest, my mother,
Laurie. Yay. We're very excited.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Mother?
Yes, I'm Laurie Given, and I'm Kate's mom and Teresa's mother-in-law.
Yes, that's right. Yes. And we're actually on a girls' trip now.
Yeah, that's why we're all together. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, this is our first podcast that Teresa and I will have recorded in the same location.
Yeah.
Because normally we live across the country from each other. All right, Teresa, you want to talk a little bit about the book we're reading?
We read Rifles for Watie, which is Laurie's favorite childhood book and favorite book. I had never read it before, and both of you had, right?
Years though, so I didn't remember anything about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've never read something that Laurie has recommended before, so I was really excited to do that.
And that's going to be a recurring theme for us was when we have guests, we will have them pick our book.
There's going to be exceptions. My brother's not going to be allowed to pick his own book.
Well, yes. Yes. We have to bribe them to get on.
They have to have their book approved.
Yes, they do have to have their book approved, which actually brings me to our next point. We are family friendly, so there's no cussing. We don't go into detail about adult topics. And also as a reminder, we are going to have lots of spoilers. This is a book club, so we don't hold anything back. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want it to be spoiled, this is not the episode for you.
Yeah. Back after you read the book, because we highly recommend it.
And if you don't want to read the book and you would like to learn about what Rifles for Watie, then stick around.
Yeah, stick around and listen to us and our discussion.
Today, since this is Mother's pick, we're going to have her ask us questions, and we're all going to answer the questions. Just like when we did Sense and Sensibility, and I basically interviewed Kate, this is going to be sort of the same setup. We've prepared some questions, and Mother is going to tell us her feelings on things, and then we'll tell you our feelings on things. Kate is going to start with a summary.
Jefferson Davis Bussey is a 16-year-old Kansan who joins the Union Army to fight in the Civil War. Rifles for Watie by Harold Keith follows him as he makes his way through all 4 years of the Civil War, spending time with the infantry, the cavalry, as a scout, and undercover in the Confederate Army. During his 4 years away from home, he falls in love, gains 2 dogs, learns to appreciate his fellow soldiers and despise officers, and learns wars are fought for many different reasons and that not all people on the opposite side of the war are bad people. In the end, he returns home a man and a person changed by his many experiences and encounters with all variety of people.
I love that you include the dogs.
I noticed that.
Mother, did you want to get asking us the questions?
Sure. Well, the first one is, obviously, did you like the book?
Oh, yes. I really liked the book. I liked the book from the very first chapter when he's plowing in the field, and it's just so beautiful and descriptive. And I was like, ooh.
I also enjoyed the book. I thought it was really well researched and very well written, and the main character was extremely likable.
Oh, very.
I also enjoyed it because I learned a lot. The characters also were really written in depth, and we got to know him, Jefferson especially, very well.
Yes.
I assume you liked the book, Mother.
Yes, I did. I had not read it for years, but it was just as good this time as it has been before.
When was the first time that you read it?
Let me think. Oh, my 5th grade teacher read it to us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that was a long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago.
And then you've read it since.
I have, but I'm
okay.
trying to think how long it's been since I read it for this. 15 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of a new book in a way.
Yeah. So I discovered new things.
Which is a great thing about rereading books. I am a rereader. I know some people are not rereaders, but I'm definitely a rereader.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend rereading books that you loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm the kind that in a mystery book I read the end first, so I can follow the plot. So of course, if I reread it again, then I see things.
With you, I really love the research that he does. Like he does so much. And then outside of just the book, I was researching what he was talking about, and it was really fascinating because they're talking about the repeating rifles. So I went to go look, and there were repeating rifles that even had more rounds in them than he's talking about. Yeah, the Spencers.
That is the reference for those of you who haven't read the book, Rifles for Watie. Watie is a Confederate general who it's a fictionalized account of that he decides to get these repeating rifles to gain leg up the Union Army. And we don't know if he really did that. That's some creative license that the author took. But it was very well done and seemed very realistic. It seems like something that would have been going on.
Oh, yes.
Well, sure.
Yes, because
Yeah.
the South had some supplies and the North had other supplies, and they didn't really like the South is eating pretty well, right? And the North has all the ammunition and guns.
Right.
It kind of makes sense if they are sneaking things across to each other.
Yeah, the contrast was another thing I liked the book. We get to see the contrast between the
Uh-huh.
North and the South, but also that there's similarities.
Well, and then you had the people, Native
yeah.
Americans,
Yeah.
that just went back and forth between the sides.
Right.
Like it was like they were with one side for a while and then they'd go.
Right. And there's all those Cherokees that are like half white that are for some reason on the South side specifically.
Yes.
So that was interesting. We will point out that this book was written in 1957, so it is not politically correct by today's standards, but we don't think that you shouldn't read it because of that. Like it's really well done. Has some important
It has some important information.
messages.
There's just a few undertypes of racism and sexism, especially, but also that's a very realistic for the time period.
But it is a children's book, so there isn't any swearing. Like he says, "Gosh darn almighty."
Yeah, corn was his favorite.
Corn.
Yes, that's true. What did you think the age range was, disregarding what like the author or the publisher thinks it is?
Thought it was appropriate from middle school to high school, personally, because it's great Civil War information. I know I've talked about this in the past, but he's the age of somebody like high school, right? So I think, and so he's going through the motions that I think a high school student could understand, like him falling in love with Lucy.
Yes, yes, that infatuation. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just all occurring during a war.
And that's why I thought it was a good middle school to high school, because there are some heavy topics, like when his friend Jimmy dies, and he doesn't want to go. That was really sad.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought maybe 5th grade and up, but
Yeah. I actually said a little bit older age range.
Okay.
I said young high school. And then I also noted that it's very appropriate book for adults to read.
Oh, definitely.
Still very relevant. It's still very entertaining for adults. So I felt like it was just a very good book for adults to read. Mother, what did you think? You read it. They read it to you very young.
Yeah, in 5th grade, you said, right?
Yes, and when I read it this time, I thought, what were we doing? Because I do think it is probably upper middle school to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is something that I would have read in middle school based on the
Yes.
curriculum. I was homeschooled. And so based on the curriculum that my mom would have prepared, I think this is something that I probably would have read in older, like maybe late high school, middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I probably read it about the first time in middle school.
Okay.
Okay. I don't even know. I don't know why. I think the reason it was read to us was because it was a Newbery Award book.
Right.
And can you tell those who don't know what a Newbery Award is?
Well, it's a very prestigious book award, obviously, and I think it is awarded to what they consider a children's book.
Yes, and he also, I was looking at the back, he also won an Lewis Carroll Shelf Award, which is another children's book award.
Yes, he won several awards.
Yeah, for this particular
Which,
book.
well deserved. The writing is excellent.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we did not study the Civil War as part of 5th grade, so I don't think that's why.
Right. I wonder what grade did we study the Civil War? When was that usually, like, in the curriculum?
I think I did it around 8th or 9th grade, maybe.
You do American history in 10th,
Okay.
but I think we've been introduced to it before that.
Right. It's one of those things, like, it's in the background of your mind. Like, it's just around, so you know it.
And I think we also did it as part of Kansas history.
That would make sense.
So
And maybe that's why we read it.
Yeah.
I lived in Colorado, and so
Civil
War was really a thing in Colorado.
Kansas, don't know, Kansas was very involved in the Civil War.
And is like most Western theater of the Civil War, basically.
Yes.
Which Harold Keith has a author's note at the beginning, and he talks about that's why he wanted to research it. It's not well known.
Yes.
Very up, because people are so focused on like Gettysburg, which they talk about in the book.
They do.
But he wanted to focus on something that people weren't as familiar with, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Kansas was called Bloody Kansas during the Civil War because it was so divided between the North and the South. So there was a lot of bloodshed in Kansas.
Yeah. And then you had the whole bushwhackers who came from Missouri
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. And
raided
raided
the Kansans along the border.
Yeah,
Right.
that was that he talks about those in the book as well, and it's one of his reasons for joining up.
Bushwhacker is specific. Were they only going after Union people, or were they just bushwhacking?
I think they were just going after.
I think
No
the South
discern-
had a different name for him
Yeah, you
because
could
they
be
talk about
right.
the Union soldiers had also taken their stuff
Stuff,
and destroyed it and the looting, but they didn't call them
Which-
bushwhackers.
which we do experience them doing in the book.
Yes,
Yeah, they
exactly.
do. Uh-huh.
So I think they just had a different name for it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think it is a good book for adults to read
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
because there is a lot there.
Well, since you gifted me this book, I'm gonna leave it with my mom. I'm gonna have
Oh.
to read it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, what was the writing style?
It's third person point of view, but I'm sorry, it's third person, but you're from Jeff's point of view the
Yeah,
entire time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Th-
that's
was
what
there
I was
ever
thinking.
a point where you weren't?
There was some overview where the author would kind of interject things,
Right.
like Jeff really wanted to see fighting, and the author kind of would come in as this omnipresent
Uh-huh.
narrator and be like,
That's
"Little did
true.
we know
Oh, that's
we
right.
would see fighting."
At one
That's
point,
true.
it's 1964. The author
18.
said,
18.
sorry, 1864, and he says the war is going to end in a year, which
Yes.
obviously Jeff couldn't know that.
Yes.
So-
Yes, that is true. That's a good
His
point.
historical notes along the way.
which actually I really appreciate
It
it.
actually, it really lent itself to understanding more of the book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it didn't feel out of place at all.
It didn't. No. But yeah, I liked the writing style a lot.
Mhm.
I liked we don't really see things unless Jeff is seeing them.
Yes.
So it's not overwhelming. And
Mhm.
also he's surrounded by these characters that know things. So we're learning history from his friends, like Noah.
That is true.
you
Yeah.
know, and I love that. So
And because he spent time in the Union Army and then undercover in the Confederate Army, we're learning about different people on both sides of the Army.
right.
Yes.
Motivations for fighting. I mean, you mentioned the Native Americans
Uh-huh.
already. A lot of the Native Americans were fighting because I think the United States itself had broken their promises for them.
Yes.
And the Confederates promised land and to keep some of those promises. Some of them blamed some of the Confederate leaders, I think, for the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears is referenced.
Right. Yes.
And some of them blamed the United States government
right.
itself.
He interacts with that kid.
Yes.
It's just like
Uh-huh.
So that was just very fascinating to me. And then you meet just women who were part of the Confederate, their
Uh-huh.
husbands and things were part of the Confederate Army.
right.
And you hear about what their thoughts are
right.
on Confederates and the Union soldiers and how they really were scared of Union soldiers because they'd been violent towards them.
Mhm.
So Jeff is learning that there's just so many different people on both sides
And
of the Army.
there's many different reasons
Yes.
Right. It's not
why people are fighting.
it's not as black and white as Jeff initially thinks, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Not as black and white as what I was taught in school, because I was taught in school, of course, that we're fighting for the slaves, but that's not the whole thing.
Right.
Union was also fighting to preserve the
Entire United
the entire
States.
yeah. But there's more layers even past
that,
that,
of course.
which I was unaware of.
Right. It goes pretty deep. War is never cut and dry. It's just it's pretty complicated.
And I think we're taught the Civil War is pretty cut and dry because
I think so. That's a good point.
Lincoln wanted to free the slaves, which actually is a misnomer.
Right.
He was more concerned about the state of the United States.
Exactly. He was more about preserving the Union
Mm-hmm.
than anything else. Yes.
I thought it was also interesting that you had people in the North and the South that had actually been on the same side
Yes.
in the, was it the Mexican
War.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's true. Because that Captain Clardy had been with Jeff's dad during the Mexican War. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Jefferson is named Jefferson Davis, because that's actually Jefferson Davis is at that point the president of the Confederacy. He
Yes.
had fought with Jeff's dad during the Mexican War. So Jeff had a very Confederate name.
He did. And the Confederates loved his name.
They did.
Yeah.
I think it kind of saved his life.
Yeah, it did.
He introduces himself. They're like, oh.
You
must be.
Yeah.
There's no way you could be a spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that.
That's-
But then he'd say his full name on the Union side, and people would be like, "What?"
It'd be eating that with suspicion,
Yeah, exactly.
especially
Yeah.
like Clardy.
Yeah, well, and Clardy was suspicious.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we could agree that we all found the plot intriguing.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
very, very intriguing. Yes.
And it draws you in. At least, I don't know if it does right from the get-go,
Oh,
but pretty
It's a
quick.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I told Kate this when I first started. I thought his writing was almost poetic. It's like very romantic the way that he's describing Kansas.
Oh.
And I could just picture it. It was beautiful imagery.
As he cans in, I was drawn in immediately because I loved his descriptions of Kansas.
Yes.
I thought that was so cool. And then very shortly he joins the army.
Army.
You called it a Mark Twain story.
Yes, when he's walking to the fort, Leavenworth, when he's walking there, he runs into a friend, and the friend just like throws down his plow, and he's like, "I'm going to join you, Jeff." And then they run into another friend, and he throws down his plow, and he's like, "I'm going to join you, Jeff." And they're all like skipping along to the fort together.
Yeah. That was a great intro.
It was
a great intro.
It was, and you do interact with those two a little bit.
Yes, you
throughout the
do.
book.
Yeah, find out what happened to them
Yep.
at the end.
And that would have been, let's see, I'm trying to remember, was he in around Bonner Springs? Is that where they were
Oh,
from?
that
Jeff?
sounds right.
Does that sound right? But that would have been a hike.
Yes.
Yes, because at one point I think they said they walked 15 miles in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
That's-
reoccurrent theme throughout the book how much they marched.
Yes,
They
and how
marched
far they
all over the
walked.
country. And at one point, I think Jeff says that he was convinced that being in the army, you only marched.
Right.
Like, that's
Yeah.
all you
That's
did.
all you got
Well,
to
he
do.
just so wanted to fight.
Yes. And then his
Yes.
first battle, he was like, why did I want to do this?
What?
The
Yeah.
world is ending.
And they do talk about how he was small for his age.
Yes. So he's 16, which is already young.
And so he didn't get to fight right away.
Right.
Yes. They tried to protect him. So
Uh-huh.
the officers did.
Yes, I think it's about a year before he actually fights.
Because he was a
Yeah.
horse holder, I think.
Right.
That was in
At the first
Confederate army.
battle. Oh, yeah.
And then in the first battle, he had to go back at the back of the
And give a
lines and deliver
message.
That's
for
right.
message.
That's what
Yeah.
how he missed his first battle.
And he's so upset, and he doesn't understand why everyone was so traumatized. He's like, "You were in a battle."
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be in battle. Like, why
Yeah.
are you so upset
Yeah.
about being in battle?
Yeah. That is actually why I looked up the history of the author to see if he'd fought in any of the world wars, because I wanted to know if he had experience, but he didn't. So
It said
Okay.
he interviewed, wasn't it like 60 some?
That's
Yes,
right. He
but-
did interview.
but they would have been older, after the war. So looking back, memory is foggy about what really happened. So,
But he seemed, I mean, I've never been in a war, but he seemed to capture it
yeah.
Mhm.
very well. I think he also read letters and journal entries.
I was just so baffled by Jeff's gung-ho-ness.
I know.
Battle. I was like, what?
I thought that was such a teenage boy thing.
So, did you feel like there were plot holes or part of the plot that didn't make sense?
The only thing that at first I was like, wow, he just keeps escaping death again and again. But I think that's how it works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that some soldiers are just literally lucky, call it divine providence, call it luck, call it what you want. But some of them just manage to escape death over and over again. So I don't think that was a plot hole at all. I think it's just the way things are.
Or
I didn't find any plot holes.
didn't really.
I feel like the author really took a really good amount of time writing this book. So he made it very historically accurate, made sure the story was really tight. In 332 pages, he covers 4 years. It's
Yeah.
the whole war. So it is very impressive.
It doesn't make you feel like you're missing anything when he jumps time.
Right. No.
Right. So I wonder, do you know how long it took when you were checking? Do you know how long it took
I don't
him
know.
to write the book?
I don't remember. I remember reading it. It was like 11 years of research.
My
I think.
goodness.
Yeah, it
Something
took
like
he
that.
did all that research. So it had to have taken a long time to just even prepare to begin to write the book.
Yeah, because he was interviewing some of Watie's men
Okay.
that had been fought beside Watie. So
That's impressive. That's pretty cool.
right.
Mhm.
Which one thing I was surprised to learn about Watie was he was at least part Native American.
Yes.
He's part Cherokee.
Part Cherokee.
Mhm.
Yes.
He
Which
is.
Jeff was surprised to learn that. He
Yeah.
had no idea. And I just thought that was interesting because it was in a time where Native Americans were very discriminated against, but the South had found a place for them.
And he had quite the reputation. How did you feel like the pace?
Yeah, I think the pacing of the book was really good. Actually, I thought for a children's book it was actually not that I read it slower than I think I would of most children's books. For some reason, it just took me a little bit longer. And when I looked up the audiobook, even though it's only 332 pages, the audiobook is 11 hours long.
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
wow.
So
Yeah. I actually thought the pacing was really cool because I thought it reflected the pace of the war.
Yeah.
It's like go.
Yes.
And then, yeah,
Let's go.
that's true.
You're just at the fort doing nothing or you're marching.
Yeah.
Marching.
You're either
then the-
waiting or
And then there's the quick chaos of battle, and then it's back to doing those things again. And starving. Like, the North is not eating well.
No,
so
no, the South had better food. The North had better uniforms.
Yes.
and guns.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes,
they
that's
did.
right.
That's a good point.
They
Yeah.
did.
I thought it was really good pacing.
I thought it was very impressive because I did feel like it kind of reflected the war.
Yeah.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that, but that's a good point. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so main characters.
Yes.
Yes. Mother, what do you think?
Well, Jeff, obviously. And then I think Noah.
Yes, Noah
Yep.
was his friend, his
Yep.
good friend.
You have to throw Clardy in there.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
because he's a big part of it.
Yes, and Clardy is a traitor.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
And he picks on Jeff the
Yes.
entire time.
And
Uh-huh.
he kind of is the one who
He's kind of the
establishes
villain.
Jeff's
Yes.
dislike of officers.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's the villain isn't really revealed towards the end.
No.
So we have this whole setup of how terrible person Clardy is.
Yes.
And then we find out that he is trying to sell the repeating rifles to Watie.
Mm-hmm. And I think Watie was kind of a main character.
Yes.
He was such a force, even if he
Right.
wasn't in the book that much.
Because he wasn't in there. Because Jeff didn't even ever see him
Mm-hmm.
Right.
until
The
way
very near
late
the
in the
end.
book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but you're right. He was just this like background character
Yes.
that you finally meet, and he's shocked at how small he is.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and he just sleeps on the ground.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I think that is shocking for Jeff because he is such a force.
And I think kind of Lucy is.
Yes, I put
Lucy,
down
yes.
too.
And Lucy was his love interest, and she
Yes.
also is part Native American.
Yes, Cherokee.
Cherokee.
Yes,
Mhm.
and Jeff happens to just discover when they're going around looking for food, and he helps them out, and she ends up getting over her prejudice towards Union soldiers and falling in love with Jeff, and Jeff is definitely an infatuation with her.
Yes. And I do like a book with a little romance.
Yes, it was cute.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think she kind of is too.
Yeah, I definitely.
As
Yeah,
part of
I
the
agree.
big story.
I agree.
Yes. Yeah. Those are all the characters I put down.
I actually included Heifer.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I liked Heifer.
Um,
He was ugly.
yeah, but Heifer really embodied how kind the Confederate
Yes.
soldiers could be. And Heifer took Jeff under his wing and helped him learn how to be a soldier and saved him when he was so sick and got him a horse. So I think Heifer embodied the kindness that Jeff encountered on the Confederate side of the army. And he felt terrible having to betray Heifer when he left.
And I guess other significant characters. What was the family he stayed with while he was sick?
The Jacksons?
The Jacksons.
Oh, yeah.
Jackmans.
Jackmans.
The Jackmans. I think they're significant not because of their individual characters, but because Jeff is really starting to see that everyone's just human on both sides of the war. Everyone's just human, and there's good people everywhere. And that's when he starts to struggle.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
So, do you think they are written appropriately, the characters? For what? I mean, I guess if we all think it's for upper middle school or high school, so are those characters appropriate?
I thought so.
I just was going to say, I thought he kept it he got the essence of a teenage boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
He very much got the daredevil.
He's
like,
sassy.
they're sassy. I think they're
Invincible.
invincible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was very well done. What about you?
I did too. Clardy is just so evil to Jeff, and I love that. Like he just writes him, he's the villain. Like there's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy, whether he's fighting for the Union or not.
Yeah.
He's just And I think that is appropriate for younger ages. Like you know who the bad guy is.
Yeah. And you know why he's the bad guy. He doesn't treat Jeff nicely.
Right.
So it's
He's always
always set up
punishing him.
for later it's not surprising he's a traitor.
Yeah, I thought they were, that they were appropriate. Yeah,
Perfect.
for the audience. And were they related?
I struggled to relate to Jeff a little bit just because he's a teenage boy.
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, I would never want to go to war, and I definitely would be looking for action. But he was so kind. You mentioned this when we were talking. One of the reasons you thought you liked the book was because he's such a kind soul.
Right.
And so that part about Jeff is relatable.
Yeah. The thing that I like about Jeff is that that I thought was relatable is that he is this really young guy. He has this view of the world that he's like, I will never be moved from this view, basically. Yeah. And then he starts to meet people and experience the world, and he's over on the Confederate side, and he starts to like develop and evolve. And I just thought that it was very, very well written.
Yes.
Because he is a high schooler and he's like, oh, there's more to the world.
That's part of any teenagers is they realize there's more to the world and they go through development. It's just like even more pronounced because he's in a war.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Mother?
Yes.
Do you think he's relatable?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned multiple times when we were chatting about it how you just thought he was just a nice guy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene where he's wandered off from camp and he runs into he goes to that house and he's starving and he asks for apples. I think they have an orchard or an apple tree. And he's like, I'm gonna work for it. And she just gives him apple butter and bread. And then he does chop wood for her, even though he doesn't have to. And then they come back and steal their cow. And she's so upset with him. She's like, I thought you weren't going to tell them about me. And Jeff then steals the cow back and brings it back to her. I love that scene.
What are some of your favorite parts that you would want to read again and again?
Do you have an answer for this?
Yeah, I was wondering what your answer was.
When he made friends with the blood.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Yes. He manages to befriend a bloodhound that was sent to find him when he was behind enemy lines, and they find out he was a traitor.
Yep.
Mhm.
And they send a bloodhound after him to capture him, and he becomes friends with it, which is so cool.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. You're right, Kate. The dogs are pretty significant because he has Ring, his dog, at home that he leaves, which is really hard on him. But then he befriends Dixie, and Dixie's a good dog.
She was a Confederate dog.
She was a Confederate dog. Oh, he leaves her.
Her master.
Right.
Her master is killed.
Right.
He leaves her
with
Lucy, doesn't he?
Right. Yes. Then there's the bloodhound. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they talked about how ugly it was.
Yes, I know that was so funny. So I was trying to figure out. I don't think bloodhounds are ugly at all.
Did you notice that? Because what's his friend with the Confederates? What's his name? Heifer. Why can't I keep that in my mind? He is also described as really ugly, and he's very just like you're pretty or you're not, basically. Yeah. And like Lucy was the most gorgeous thing he'd ever seen.
Well, of course,
yes. So yeah. How about you, Kate? What would you reread?
I would reread the scenes when he's behind enemy lines and interacting with like Heifer and the Jackmans. And then also, like, when he learned why different people were fighting.
He's starting to learn so much about there's more than one reason.
Yeah. I enjoyed his interactions with a variety of different people, but especially the people he perceived as his enemies.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I do like his interactions with the Confederates. So I would probably reread when he does take the cow back to that Confederate family because he's like, they have children and where are they going to get their milk from? Yeah. And then of course he befriends the Washburns and they're also Confederate but he loves them. And he's like, I'm not going to let a war take away my ability to care for these people.
Yes.
You know,
like he didn't let the war really change who he was.
Right.
It helped him mature and grow and learn about things, but he didn't change negatively, which was interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Which then you have been like Clardy, who I think the war probably did.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, probably going back to the Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When he fought in that one.
But I do love his interactions with Lucy because she's just like about him for so long. And he recognizes that. And he's like, oh, she's probably going to blame me for this. Yes. And he's like, she pretty much blames the war for me, but he's still so infatuated.
It was such a well done portrayal of a young teenager, like a teenager in love.
Yes.
It's so infatuation. It's so cute.
I don't think it ever says how old she is.
They indicate that she's younger. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I love this. I love this scene when she goes to milk the cow and she can't figure out which side of the cow to sit on, and then he tells her, and she gets all haughty, but she switches sides, and all the Union soldiers are clapping.
Yeah, she was such a strong woman.
I thought all the women
in that family were definitely, and the Jackmans too.
Yes,
because they take care of themselves. They had to evacuate. And move to Texas and leave their really nice home. Yeah. But they were also...
He wrote strong female characters.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Really did.
Yeah, I thought they were really well written.
For the underlying...
There weren't
many at times. there was
Uh-huh.
strong female characters.
David's mom can't plant a robe straight because she's a woman. Like,
Yes.
I was like, wow.
and he
Yeah.
again at the end when he sees the straight rose and then he finds out that she's remarried.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, it's because a man.
Yeah.
I was really amused by that.
I was
Yeah.
amused.
It was funny.
It again was very teenage boy.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so were there quotes in the book that you thought were significant?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, so many quotes. Yeah, but I did narrow it down to just two. So I have a quote from Lincoln. He says, "We have a means provided for expressing our belief in regard to slavery. It is through the ballot box, the peaceful method provided by the Constitution. But no man, North or South, can approve of violence or crime."
That's great.
Yeah,
great.
I thought that was very significant for today. So,
True.
and I haven't looked it up yet if that's an actual quote because Jeff goes and sees Lincoln
If
talk.
it's a true life,
Oh, if he came to.
If that's an actual quote from
Right.
Lincoln. She said, no, they recorded it. Like they wrote down
what
the
he said.
debates when he's over.
I would guess he actually made the visit.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Or and maybe at some other point
He said
or
that-
wrote
that.
something similar.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What do you have?
I actually have a quote about Kansas.
Nice.
She had called, this is referring to Jeff's mom. She had called Kansas an erratic land, Jeff remembered. She said it was like a child, happy and laughing one minute, hateful and contrary the next. A land famous for its cyclones, blizzards, grasshoppers, mortgages, and its violently opposed political cliques. And a lot of that is still true today. And having lived in Kansas all my life, I just really related to that. And it was like it was in the very first chapter, one of the first paragraphs, and it just drew me in. So what about you, Mother? What'd you write?
Okay, it's the one about making him a scout.
Yes. Noah warns him about being a scout.
Yes.
Which that's some good foreshadowing.
It is some good
There is
foreshadowing.
a lot of that in there.
Yes.
After you read the.
After you, yeah.
And if you go back and read it several times,
Yes.
I bet
you
you
can
can
spot.
spot he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. That is
Yeah.
true.
Because he becomes a scout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very dangerous.
And then it's a major part of the story.
It is. Yes. Even though it's towards the end, it becomes a major part.
I do have one more quote that I think is really significant. It's from Mulholland. How do you say his name? I'm sorry, Mulholland.
I think it's
That's how I would say it.
And he says, "You can always go further than you think you can. This is pretty hard, but we can stand it." And he remembers that again at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does.
And in the first time, it's because they're walking and he's so tired. And Mulholland's like, "You can push yourself." But when it's the end of the war, it's more significant because he's like, "I can push myself in any situation. I can go further. It's hard, but I have it and go further."
And he literally pushed himself past the bounds of where he should have been able to physically in order to save himself.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, like when he's hiding in the river.
Yes.
Yeah,
he hid in the
I would've-
river.
I would have absolutely been dead.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, and then he hid in that village for how many days?
Right. Yeah.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Because he ate because the wild boar.
Yes, the
Oh,
dogs
that's
killed a
right.
wild boar and he was able to eat, and that saved
Yes,
him.
that's right.
Uh-huh.
I will say this for Jeff. He's a teenager, so he doesn't really understand his own limits, so he just keeps going.
Yeah.
That served him so well.
Yes. He was also so determined.
That was one part. That was about the only part of the book where I thought,
Would that have happened?
yeah,
Right.
you
yeah.
know, like
yeah.
would it have taken him that long to have found it?
Oh,
But
well,
I guess
didn't
they
have the
did.
bloodhounds
Yeah,
come
they
in.
did
had
not.
to fetch
That's
the
true. So they were probably getting the bloodhounds while I was hanging out.
Yes.
How long was he on the run for?
Now that I don't remember. Did they ever
It
really?
seemed like a
Maybe-
long time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever.
It
said.
was 14 months from the time he went missing until he came back.
Oh, that's
Wow.
right.
And then
He's
they
like, I'm overdue.
Yeah. Well, and then, they talk about how long he was in that deserted village,
Yes.
but I don't know if they ever say.
No, I don't think they.
I don't think
just-
they ever do.
It's implied it was a long time,
Yeah.
and if he
Yeah.
hadn't found food and water, I think he would have died.
What was like over 100 miles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
also had a hard time finding him because he went the opposite way.
That's
what you
right.
would expect.
So
It seemed
to
like
go.
basically the long way
Okay.
back
Around.
north.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do have one more quote. It's when in his first battle, and
That he actually fights in.
yes,
Yes, yes.
Jeff thought of how little control a soldier in the ranks had over his own destiny.
It's true. Each man for himself.
Yeah, each man for himself, and you just go where the officers tell you.
Yeah.
And I think that's also pretty relevant today.
Yeah, that's true.
Although sometimes he didn't go
where he was
easily.
Yeah,
No,
that's
he
true.
didn't. He
That's true.
was a little insubordinate at
Yes.
times.
Especially when it came to Clardy, because him and Clardy already didn't get along. So then it brought out the worst in Jeff
Yes.
sometimes.
Okay, so how did the book make you feel?
I left the book feeling bittersweet
Yes.
because it was good, you know,
Right.
and that's how I feel about a good book. Like I'm sad it's ending, and it also had a happy, sad ending. You hear about people who died,
Mhm.
but he also made it home, and he's going to end up with Lucy. So I was kind of happy, sad.
Yeah.
What about you, Mother?
About the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy, sad?
Yeah, I was definitely very contemplative. I thought the message in the book was very relevant to today because there's so much divide in the country. You have to remember that your next door neighbor might not agree with you politically, but that doesn't mean that they're not a good person.
Yes, it was a very good reminder of that, I felt.
Exactly.
I just really appreciated the research that the author did. Like I felt like it was just so well done. I don't know if the language is entirely correct. Were they saying corn as a swear word back then?
I know.
Or is that more from the 50s?
But I kind of want to implement in my own language. Right?
I like to think about what happened after.
Yes.
Yes. I wish there was an epilogue.
I know. Like they
He
do
ended up
now.
with Lucy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Because he's like, I'm going to come back for you. At the end of the war, no matter what, I'm going to come back for you.
Bloodhound and Dixie.
Yeah.
And maybe Ring.
Yeah.
And he was going to go to college.
Yes, that's right. He was going to go to
That's
college.
Yeah.
They mentioned multiple times about how Kansas was going to found their first university, which is KU, Kansas.
Mhm.
No,
Kansas.
Kansas.
You
Oh,
need to get that right.
I hope there
Yeah.
are no KU and K-State fans watching.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the other things that I liked about it, because I have this quote in here, not from the book, where I did talk about how he recognized that the Confederates weren't just monsters, they were humans. And there's this quote from the Battle of Bunker Hill from the Revolutionary War that says, "Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes."
Yes.
You know?
I heard that. Yes.
And I feel like that was sort of a theme in the book. You don't want to fire on somebody until you realize that they're actually a human being, because war today is fought with bombs and planes, and they don't even drones, and you don't even see the other people. And so I love that he's continuing to humanize each side, everybody.
But doesn't it make you wonder who thought of that dumb idea?
To like line up in rows and go shoot at
each other?
I know, it's awful.
Yeah, it's just, and so much bloodshed. So much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was your reading setup?
Where did you read?
Mostly in the living room.
Well,
Okay.
you read a little bit
Huh.
on the exercise bike.
Oh,
yes. Little bit big, no. I would like to say that I probably exercised more, but my book wasn't large print, so that it's harder to read.
I have definitely taken my book to the gym in my apartment complex.
Yes.
Yep.
That's really funny.
Mostly in the living room.
So I read quite a bit of the book on the way in the car here.
Oh,
To
okay.
Estes.
Yeah, you
So-
did.
I mean, if you have seen any of our social media posts, you'll see that I read mine on the plane on the way out here.
Yes.
Yeah, I read a big
Yeah.
portion of it out. And then yesterday morning, I read like 100 pages yesterday morning, the last 100 pages
You
that I
were
had.
cranking it out.
I
Yeah,
was.
really close.
I was
Deadline.
well, and I felt the reading pace picked up as the action picked up, and I was like,
We
oh
did.
gosh,
Yeah,
he's
I
being
think it did.
paced,
Because it did.
Yes.
And so it probably didn't feel so much, because at first I thought, oh man, this thing's slow.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it just picked up because of the
action.
story.
Yeah,
It wasn't the
It
writing.
mirrored what was happening
Uh-huh.
in the war.
Yes. Okay. So what music gave you the same feeling as this book?
Well, I grew up listening to the soundtrack to Gettysburg, so Gettysburg was definitely playing in the back of my mind. And it has like the bugle sounds and the drum sounds, which is just very, Civil War. So,
Yes,
I
definitely.
think you can find it on iTunes, so I would
Yeah.
recommend looking it up. How about you, Kate?
Home on the Range, which I know it's not my favorite song, and my aunt hates it. Sorry, Aunt Pam, if you're listening.
Yes.
But I did, because so much of it was fought in the Kansas, Missouri, the range area.
Right.
And if you didn't know this, and you wouldn't unless you're a Kansan, I think, a native Kansan, Home on the Range is their state song.
Yes, it is. It's not the Wizard of Oz song.
It is, no.
It is Home
not
on the
anything
Range.
from Wizard of Oz.
Over the rainbow.
Yeah.
Yellow Brick Road.
I don't know if Colorado has a state song. That's interesting. We have two official songs. One is called Where the Columbines Grow,
That makes sense.
and then one's called Rocky Mountain High by John Denver.
That one's good. That one's good.
It was adopted in 2007. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyways.
Interesting.
Wait, you didn't share what your song is.
Well, I don't have one.
Okay.
No, but if
That's fine.
I could, because I'm not real good about it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be my fault too.
But I would need one that would have the marching beat.
The
Okay.
marching beat.
Later today, we will listen to
Like,
Gettysburg.
yeah, the drummers. I bet there's something in Gettysburg.
But I was actually thinking of, the Peter and the Wolf, where they have
the
different,
classical music, this piece, Peter and the Wolf.
I
and the
don't know it.
characters have different
Oh,
sounds.
okay.
Yes.
Like different instruments.
Yes,
Okay.
because then you need the, like, lilting for Lucy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You
Yep. I can see
And
that.
then it could get louder, of course, with the battle, and you could have the drums.
Yes.
But you'd always have the marching beat.
Yes, because that is a theme throughout the marching.
Another song that came to me, but I don't know what the name of it is that, do you remember when Chris and I were in Spain and we sent you that video of that parade that happened at
Yes.
2:00 in the morning? And it was like the
With
first
those
thing,
people?
yeah, and the first thing that you could hear while laying in bed was the drums. It was like, dun, dun,
Yes.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. And then as it got closer, it was brass. And I always think brass when I think of the Civil War.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And but it was more like a funeral dirge. So,
Yeah.
Well, appropriate at times as well.
That's
Yes,
true.
it
That's
has
true.
been. Yes.
So, and our last question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. How would you rate the book? 1 to 10.
This is a solid 9 for me.
Is it?
Only reason it's not 10 is because of the political incorrectness. And I only say this because when Nancy Drew books were politically incorrect, they were rewritten to have the mysteries stay the same, but they took out the political incorrectness.
I didn't
I was
know
like,
that.
maybe they could do that with this.
Yeah, we issued another edition.
Yeah, because I think this would be great for school children to read, but I'm not sure that they would allow this in schools, but they should. I loved the characters and I loved the story and I thought it was really well. So I said 9. How about you?
I said 8.5.
Okay.
Just because right at 10 for me, but we're inching up there.
How
What about you?
about you?
Well, I said 10.
10, sure.
Well, of course, it's your
Yeah,
favorite
it's your
book.
book. Yeah, that's fair. That's
That makes
absolutely fair. Yeah, I think if I had read this when I was in middle school or high school, I would have really liked it.
I did. I remember
Uh-huh.
liking it when I read it. So,
Yes.
which is why I have that brand new copy. I had that brand new copy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right
And
there.
then Kate sent it to me, and
I did. It's
I'll,
yours
give it
now.
I'll pass it on to my mother.
So,
Maybe we should all write our names in it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
She could pass it to somebody.
There you go.
All right.
So, as a reminder, Teresa, let's remind people what we're going to cover next.
Yes, in a couple of weeks, we're doing A Rome of One's Own, which is a history book by Emma Southon. So you can either read that book or you can join us to learn all about the history of women in Rome.
Yes. So, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we enjoyed the book.
Thank you.
Yes,
And you did a very good choice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we loved having you as a first guest.
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.